Unsyndicated presents Off the Board, the weekly gambling show. Hosted by Majchrzak and Mike Iavasile.
Welcome to another exciting edition of Off the Board with me, Majchrzak, and my gambling brother. If I can speak tonight, that'd be cool. It's been a really long day. Mike,
it's all the singing you've been doing.
That, and so I hosted Sports Rap tonight.
Oh, all right.
I was like, all it takes is I quit, and then you can host now. I made that joke to the programming director, so it's fine that I'm saying it on here. But yeah, it was me and Lomas just hanging out, having a great time. So it was cool, which is something I've been wanting to do. And have you met Lomas, by the way?
I have not.
Through Sean?
I missed out on the barbecue over at Sean's. I was out of town. I didn't get to meet him, but I've always wanted to.
I'm telling you, like, the most incredible human I've ever met in my life. Like, just the absolute salt of the earth. Like, all the stories that people tell you about how nice he is and how great of a human being he is are 1,000% true.
That's what I hear. That's how Sean talks about him, and that's what makes me want to meet him. Shawnee. I want to meet him. I want to meet the man, the myth, the legend. But right now, I cannot wait to get back on this horse, Blake. As anyone that listens to the show knows, I just went 2-8 on our show bets, and I've been itching to get back to some redemption.
Yeah,
I feel like Bob Marley redemption song should be playing for me right now.
Todd, I'll bring up the sheet if you want to. We can just start rolling through last week. You know what? Indiana's just a wagon, so I'm done betting against them. We'll talk about that later. I don't care who's at quarterback. I don't care who they're playing. I will be taking Indiana no matter the game. And they play Ohio State in a couple weeks, and I'll probably end up taking Indiana. I think that highly of this Indiana team. They are a wagon.
They are a wagon. They're on a roll. I was sitting in this great bar that has great gluten-free food and beer in a great town, Oakville, Ontario. If you ever are out that way in the Toronto area, I'm telling you, it reminded me of Birmingham. Great place. And I was looking up at that game. They turned it on for me. I think I was texting you at the time.
Yeah.
They had I know the one bar they had all the hockey games on, and I got them to put the Michigan game on, but I got them to put this game. I was watching the Indiana game and the Auburn game, and I looked at my wife and I said, honey, this is going to be another under where one team goes over the total, and Indiana was just rolling. They are them.
Yeah, they are so good. And then Miami-Louisville was the craziest game of the day. Just absolute fireworks back and forth. Yeah. I mean, you can see right on here, 97 total points scored, and neither of us took the over. So that was cool. And like, honestly, Louisville, like, it was a weird number, and I knew that might come back and bite both of us. Like, 5 is just not, it's not a number, like one of those key numbers that I would normally fire on. But honestly, like, after watching that game, I would bet it again. Like, I would take Louisville again because that game came down to a coin flip. It was who had the ball last, literally.
Yeah, and the going back to the over, I want to say I don't think any of us talked about. I think Miami might be undefeated to the over this year. I know they're one of the teams that are very over prone, if I'm not mistaken. So that one got biased, but. Again, these games are going to get biased when they do this. And the only note I have on this board is I was on the wrong side of everything. I'm not even taking any credit to say, hey.
Oh, you were on the right side of the Tennessee-Bama under.
Well, the losses is what I'm saying. Like, those losses were just – it was bad. Like, at one point, I was just going to bed, and then I saw that something was going on in the Texas-Georgia game, and I turned it on to see that interception, touchdown. I'm like, all right, well, maybe this has got to – no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It just doesn't. It was the big lights get too bright for Texas at times, and Georgia is used to it, and that's exactly what that game was.
We forgot that Georgia only loses to Bama. That's the issue that we had. That's why. And I mean, Texas is still a really good team. Georgia's defensive line just ate. And that's a really good Texas offensive line. And I did not see that coming at all, obviously. And you know what? That's okay. We live and we learn. Tennessee's offense, like, it almost started to click at the end of that game too. It was close. I feel like that is figuring some stuff out.
Yeah, I did not. Again, I was in Canada. I didn't get to see much of that game at all, if anything. But I was tailing and watching my one victory, so I was happy with that. And that was actually a real good one. I don't think that one was close at all at any time going over.
No. I mean, there was. I think that game was like, I want to say it was like 14-7 or 7-0 in the first, or like for the whole first half. That game was ugly.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were sitting pretty with that one for sure. All right, on to the NFL. I'm trying to move us along a little quicker because Todd's on vacation and
we can't go 2 hours again.
We can't go 2 hours on him while he's trying to, have some quality time with the fam. Green Bay, I would bet, like, we lost by half a point. We lost by half a point. That's just gambling.
Yes, and I am not mad at any of these bets. I think outside of betting against Patrick Mahomes, I would take each and every one of these bets again. That
I tried telling you about that.
You did. I tried telling myself. I told the trend. He's 13-0 as a dog in neutral sites and on the road, but yet I still went against him. The Green Bay game was a matter of 3 turnovers. Minnesota choked it. They were playing well. Maybe Minnesota's turning into who we thought Minnesota was. Tampa Bay
with the Minnesota game, real quick. When we saw that defensive touchdown, I was like, "Oh, we got this."
Yeah,
I was like, "Okay, this is good." Defensive touchdown, like, yeah, let's go, let's roll. And then Detroit's just really good.
They are, and I even had that feeling watching the game. I was one with it. I was like, "Hey, on the road, Minnesota's good. We can lose it. This is fine." I wasn't even getting upset with anything. But then Detroit, they're real good. They're doing well. The Tampa Bay game, that's a different game. You go from Mike Evans catching a touchdown, but he pulls a hammy, drops the ball. 2 plays later, interception. That game changed. Baker made some bad decisions, but I still like that bet. So I was not mad at my NFL bets at all. Again, except for that Kansas City one. But again, when I'm looking at this, we all have to remember these are not games that I'm looking at. So it's hard for me at times. But again,
how did you do with your like the games you bet on?
So that is one of the first things I had up on my notes to talk about is the public's having the time with it. The last 3 weeks, favorites are 29-14 against the spread, right? That's the public for the most part. And they're going crazy. They're winning it. Now, if you were to look ahead and say, "Hey, Mike, I can see into the future, there's going to be a 3-week span that favorites are 29-14. How are you going to do?" I would tell you I'm going to lose my ass. I'm done. Those are weeks when the public wins. My betting philosophy. I try to find the money, but that money almost all the time, if not all the time, is against the public. Like, let me find it here. I'm 21-19-1 over the last 3 weeks. I was 1 game over total last week. I was boom, 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 4-3 NFL, 3-3-1 in the NCAA. So I was 7-6-1. When the public's going crazy and the favorites are winning, I'll take that any day. So I'm still doing real good. I'm still hitting at 55% of the bets in my account. How about you, my brother?
Last couple weeks have been rough. I was looking like college. I legitimately, like, outside of the show picks that we had, I went like 2-5, 2-6. It was brutal for college. NFL was better. It was I think I went 3-3. So it wasn't terrible, but Like my NFL picks have been decent this year. It's my college. I'm having a hard time seeing the board right, and time's running out. We're in week 9 now. We're over halfway through.
Well, you got to take a look at it. You've had your glasses on, your rose-colored glasses for a couple teams that they took a dump on you, Blake. They really did. And this gets in, and this isn't at you. This is the public kind of does the same thing. They get their biases towards teams, their favorite team, the most popular team, the Super Bowl champ, the undefeated, the higher ranked teams. They can't take those glasses off.
Yeah.
And at times, me and you as bettors, we have to do that. That is why it's crazy when I say this and people laugh at me. There's a guy I work with that just laughs at the way I bet. He's like you at times said, do you even know who the quarterback is of that team? I don't. Yeah. I don't. The less I know, the easier it is for me to bet the way I
you
bet.
can take emotion out of it.
Yes. So it doesn't always work for me because then I have to watch that game and go, who is that quarterback? What? Who liked this guy? Who got me to bet on this? But we do at times. So I think that's what I hear you saying. You're going to be washing your glasses this weekend. You're looking at those teams that have taken a dump because everyone has it. We power rank teams, right? And sometimes those power rankings don't end up during the season, and we just got to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's it's kind of figuring out. It's just finding the right spots to be in, and it's just and trying to keep track of everything that I want to keep track of, watching all the games that I want to watch, and seeing vibes and everything. Like, what was the game? I was thinking about you because I was listening to Cover 3 the other day, and they were talking about that Houston Kansas game, and you said you had. You took Houston, I know, and they got smoked. They got absolutely killed. I
think they started it out. Who the hell favors Kansas by this many points? And that's who. I mean, that I got absolutely.
Houston has quit. Houston is one of those teams like we talked about a couple weeks ago. Yep. It keeps coming up. They've quit, and there's a couple. So. Yeah, I would. When you said that pick, that's what made me nervous. I was like, I think Houston quit, but here we are. So we live and we learn. You just don't. Yeah. You don't bet on Houston the rest of the season. I don't care what your numbers say. As a friend, I'm telling you, you're not allowed.
And it's gonna happen. It is gonna happen. I'm gonna be on. There's gonna be a Monday. I'm sitting there and I'm running my Monday numbers. And when I run my Monday numbers, I shoot you text sometimes. I'm like, I got 40 games. I don't know what the hell to do. One of those 40 games is going to be Houston. Houston is going to be a dog. Houston is going to be a big dog. And there's going to be a sharp group somewhere that is going to lay a ton of money on them because they think that line is overinflated. I'm going to see that. I'm going to see that move. I guarantee I'm on Houston at least one more time. I'm going to be on it one more time. But hey, before we get running, because I know we want to hook up our boy Todd here. I something hit me this morning. This week really. I doing my bets and I'm throwing my numbers in, and I wondered out loud. I don't know about you, Blake. Do you, when you're betting, do you bet? I don't know how to describe this. Right off the first page where those initial lines are, where you have your dog, your fave, your over, your under, and your money line right there. That's it. Or do you do what I do? I go into the alt menu and I look for what the line is. So whatever if it's -7, I find the -7. Because what I do is I'll say, let's say I want to drop that -7 to a 6.5. I see what that price is and I write that price down. And what I'm finding more and more, whether it's mistakes or whether it's just where it is, depending on what you want, I'm finding better numbers at better prices on the alt lines. So my tip to everybody out there is don't just go to that front page. For example, DraftKings, they always have all lines. You hit that all lines, it goes, and it's got a whole menu of them. MGM has them for the big games. like I'm waiting on a game in particular this week that I think tomorrow is going to open up all the alt lines in one of the NCAA games. And I'm looking for that because I want to take a 6.5 to a 7. And right now it's a minus 128. That's not bad. I'm still might do it. I still like the 6.5, but if I can find it at the right price, and you will find it. I found, for example, there's a game I'll go through in my bets. It was an over under. I got a whole point for 5 cents.
Yeah.
You don't know that. Like, and a lot of times, I think I've mentioned it to you. You'll say, "Hey, that line's at 3," and I'm like, "Is it really?" Because it's a plus 100 minus 120. That's an alt line. So the real line is hidden in that alt menu. So I want to go to those alt menus if you have them on your apps and find a better line.
So I had this. Speaking of that, I was betting. And this happened literally earlier today because on the app I was using USC was minus 13.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like change it to 13 and a hook.
Yeah.
And the app that was the only score it would not let me pick.
Right.
Because it was knowing I was just trying to increase my odds by a fraction of an amount.
Yep.
But still, it just wouldn't let me take it. I had to just take it at straight 13, which is fine. Like, that's still like a key enough number where I'll take it. Like, and this isn't one of the games we're talking about. I love USC tonight. I think that spreads out to 14.5 right now.
There you go.
I got it at 13.
Moving your way, baby.
That I was like, I think Rutgers has way too many injuries, but I was like, but I 100% agree with what you're saying. I do both because I do dabble in some like first half and like team totals and stuff. So if it's a game that I have more of a feel on, I click into it and I'll look at all that alt stuff. I look at it more in NFL honestly than I do college though, which is weird. But
I just highly recommend. Yeah, I highly recommend. I think people's minds will be blown at the numbers that they'll find and at the prices. I mean, I paid a nickel to move, and I'm like, a nickel's worth it. Like, I don't want to pay 20 cents, but I'll pay that nickel. And then you'll find them sometimes, depending on which. So when you're working against what the book wants to do, you sometimes can move your number and still get the minus 110. Like, you won't realize it till you see that line. And another thing, I gotta tell you, this is a game I took, and I'll talk about it later, but watching Sunday night and Monday night games when they're a blowout and you go and you watch where they put those, like, I'm not awake, right? You guys might be awake. Like an hour or two after that game, those books are going to react to that. I got an unbelievable line after I think it was the Sunday night game, whenever the Ravens, but wait till you hear the line I get in this Ravens game coming up
Monday
later.
night. Monday night, the Tampa.
Yes. They'll post it right away because as a reaction. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, thank you. And I grabbed it, and wait till you hear this number I got.
All right, you ready to get into this week's? Are you ready?
I am ready, but let's do some trends first. Can we do that?
Okay.
We always do these trends, all right? And I tried to get these trends on something I know I'm on or on one of our show bets, right? So in the NFL, Buffalo and Seattle, someone right here might be on this one, and someone might be going against this trend. So I think this is hilarious. And you know I'm against it once you hear it. Buffalo and Seattle are 10-0 to the over in their last 10 games.
Really?
So you know what I'm on, right?
You're on the under.
Bam it, baby.
I'm not even kidding. I wish I could share this. I have the over on my card. 100%.
I love it. So here's one that's going to be for our show. Veteran quarterbacks with a new team are 33% ATS on Monday Night Football. Russell Wilson might have a rough Monday Night Football game.
I'm fine with
that. Hey, I'm on that. I'm loving that one.
If this show has figured out one thing and we just agree on it and we have it all figured out, it is Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have that locked down, and nobody can deny that from us.
Nope. Not at all.
That's if we have one thing, it's that. That's
Hey,
it.
and sometimes, hey, in the end, that's all we're gonna need is one thing. One thing.
That
All
one
right.
thing may keep us afloat.
So I think it was about 3 weeks ago I brought up this trend, and I have now brought it up every week. And there's a reason why. It's the 2 ranked teams and that home team. Those home teams it's a little bit more now, but 67% straight up, 59% against the spread. I brought it up last week again. Last week it was 5-0. So this week we've got again,
Wait.
to remember, it was the 2 ranked teams playing. The home team is 67% straight up, 59% against the spread.
But there was a loss in that.
Which one did I miss?
Georgia beat Texas.
Damn, you foiled me.
Sorry. Sorry. I was just like, wait, there was a big one that happened.
And I missed. All right. But so we'll give it 4-1 or 5-1, whatever it was. But it was hitting this week. We've got, and I'm going to tap onto this one too. So this week we've got the Notre Dame Navy game, the Illinois Oregon game, the Missouri Bama game.
And one of those teams shouldn't be ranked.
Texas Vandy and LSU A&M. So we've got, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games going. Now you want to narrow this down a little bit. If that spread is double digits, like in the Illinois Oregon game and the Mizzou Alabama game, the home team is 71% against the spread.
And Vandy Texas, Vandy Texas too, because that spread is like 19.
This is why I brought you Vandy Texas. Yep.
Yeah.
No, wait, no. The home team's got to be the favorite.
Okay.
I missed that one. I missed it. The home team is a double-digit favor. I forgot that one. Now another one. This one's right for you, Blake, but this is right on our thing. MSU 1-13 against the spread against conference foes after an upset win. Boom.
Okay. Hey,
here we go.
That's a positive. That wasn't even a mean stat. That was a
no.
I like that one.
That was right. That's right up our jam. I got to give credit again. I don't make these up. Steve and AJ Makinen, they do these things. So I want to give them credit, but I wanted to make sure we got our trends before we get ready to let these people know what we think about these games.
All right, perfect. All right, let's do it. Let's scoreboard real quick. Well, if you want to show it, it's what we're just below 500. That's not terrible.
No,
I'll take it. It's not an embarrassing number.
So if you were to tell me again, I mean, if we were talking before we started the show and you said, Mike, I'm going to give you 10 games, 5 NCAA, 5 NFL games that you don't like, but you have to pick them. I would tell you if I go 500, I will be happy. That's what. So 37-40 after a 2-8 week, I'm okay right now. Another 2-8 week, I'm going to not be so happy with myself, and I might have to buckle down a little bit. But 37-40, picking games that I would say 90% of them I don't like, I'm good.
And the way I spread the board, I'm at 450. That's fine.
Yes. Well, you've got like 80 more bets than me.
What is that? 77, and that was 90 for me. Yeah, so 13 more. That was very quick math. Or wait, 100.
I like that. I like math, Blake.
100. 170. Yeah, so 23. I've picked 23 more bets than you. Yeah. That was almost good quick math. Todd's shaking his head at me. I do. I'm trying to stay away from them. I only have 3 this week. Okay. Only 3 doubles. So let's start it out. The game of the game of the G5. Like I said on Twitter earlier today, we are the pregame for this game. It starts in about an hour. I'm very excited about this. I think that whoever wins this game will most likely be going to the college football playoff as that at-large group of 5 team. Boise State at UNLV. Boise State is favored by 2.5. The over-under is 64.5. I will start us out on this one.
Go for it.
We've been riding this guy all season long.
Yep.
And we aren't going to shy away from it. Give me Boise minus the 2.5 on the road at UNLV. Like I said, I am so excited to watch this football game. I think it's going to be great. I think it's a game that will come down to the wire, but I'm going to take the better team and one of the 5 best players in the country, and I will take him at less than a field goal every single time. Boise State.
Yeah. Absolutely. You can't. I mean, you can't argue with what Boise's doing. And this is a program that's been there, done that. So where am I going with this game? Yeah, I always start everything with the public's looking at 2 teams. They've got 11 wins combined. There's a running back in this game, Blake, that is a minus 300 to score 2 touchdowns. These teams average over 80 points a game. The public's looking and saying, this game is going way over. This is an easy cover, right? Hold on, folks. Despite 72% of the bets and 73% of the money. So, I mean, this is getting hammered. This over is getting hammered. This line opened at 66.5 and dropped to the 64.5 where it's at. Why would you do that? If all that money and all those bets are there, why would the book do that? That is because the sports books are taking a side. They're siding with the under. They don't care who's throwing their money or what's going on. They're going under. I'm going under. Give me under 64.5.
I don't hate it. I don't love it either because like weird things happen late night in college football.
Oh, yes.
So it's either going to be like very close under or it's just going to get smoked and you're going to see 97 points like we did in that Louisville Miami game last week.
Agreed. It's another one. I look at it and I'm like, I would be one of those 72% blowing on the over on this one. Come on, UNLV, Boise State. Genty's going to have 5,000 yards and 8 touchdowns himself. But then I look at the numbers when the sports books say, hey, we're taking a stand. All that money, I mean, they've got a ton of risk and a ton of liability here. I'm going with it.
And UNLV is nothing. Like UNLV's offense, I'm obsessed with their offense. Yes. They run the craziest, coolest formations, like just all this weird stuff just to get athletes in space.
Yep.
And like I said, I'm very excited to watch this game tonight. I'll be watching that along with that USC Rutgers game. But moving on to another G5 team, but they're playing against an independent in Navy, playing Notre Dame. Notre Dame is favored by 13.5. I think this game is neutral site. I couldn't.
Yeah, it's at the Meadowlands or whatever, isn't it?
Oh yeah, but it's technically a home game for Navy.
Yes.
Because Notre Dame does that for like they'll like get deals with these because they've done it with other teams too. Like it'll be like a home game for like I think this game's been played at like Yankee Stadium before and stuff.
Yes.
Notre Dame's favored by 13.5, over under 51.5. Navy has a legitimate shot to, make the playoff as well as those other 2 teams we just spoke of. I mean, the fact that Army and Navy are both undefeated and they if they run the table, and even if they don't run the table, as long as they win out in the American, they could be playing 2 weeks in a row. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
So how the Army-Navy game is technically not a game. It's a scrimmage. It does not count towards any record books or anything. It is an independent standalone game. It is a scrimmage. It's not part of the conference schedule. And both Navy and Army are in the American League. They're both, but they do not play. They will never play in the regular season. Because they have made an agreement with the American to not play.
Cool.
But they could, if they both go undefeated, they could meet in the conference championship.
That would
which is the week before Army Navy. So they would play 2 weeks in a row. Once at a neutral site, once at the neutral site, and then another at another neutral site, which is crazy. It's a very cool, like weird gimmick. That being said, like I said, Notre Dame is favored in this game by 13.5. Mike, you go ahead and go first with your pick for this game. And just remember, this is involving the troops.
Yes, I know. And I see our guy Tim here is already throwing up his feeling. He would take Notre Dame.
He doesn't like the troops.
He does not like the troops. I don't like that. I matter of fact, I think we need to block him after that. But I wrote right away, I hate this bet. The bets and the money are all with Navy. I think it's 75% of the bets, 68% of the money is on Navy. That's usually not where I bet. You guys have heard me long enough. The public can't understand how an undefeated team's getting 2 touchdowns, right? Like Navy's undefeated. How are we getting 2 touchdowns? We're technically at home. So they're pounding this, thinking they love the points. Here's the thing with this. I got to get to my numbers. This line opened at 14. Okay. Within a couple of hours, the pros bet it down to 11. All right. They took Navy. This thing then got bet back up and another group came in. So you have 2 groups going back and forth. I stay away from that because I don't know which is better. But what I always have to do, I tend to do, I've talked about this, I take the early money. Unfortunately, that early money is on the public side right now. I'm taking Navy and 13.5 points.
Because you respect the troops.
I respect the troops.
America.
Every so often, I got to throw the public a bone.
I am also on Navy plus the 13.5. My dad was in the Navy. That's all the reason I need. My father was in the Navy. He served this country for the Navy. I have to ride with Navy. Easy. Perfect. And I hate Notre Dame. I don't want them to make the playoffs.
Wow.
This so
is an easy
sick.
One for you.
I'm so sick of Notre Dame. I'm sick of them. I don't need Notre Dame in the playoff just to get smoked by 40 by some probably Boise State or UNLV. I don't need it. So
you not only like the points, you like the money line. You want a straight up Navy pounding.
That is something I will be sprinkling. I'm not even kidding. That's just wishful, Blake, though. Nothing more.
I love
nothing
it.
less.
I love it.
But I especially like this, we could see, especially with how you're saying this line's moved, we could see it jump back out to 14.5 by game time.
Absolutely.
I would not be shocked by that.
Absolutely. This is one where if you're sitting there and you do like Navy, just wait.
Yep.
Just wait. Those Notre Dame slappies are going to come in and lay their lawyer money down, and you're going to get a better number.
Yep. Next game, Illinois at Oregon. Illinois obviously had a huge win last week against Michigan at home. They wore the ugliest uniforms you've ever seen in your life. Oregon has pretty uniforms that make my eyes happy. And they always do. They just always do. Oregon's favored by 21.5. The over-under here is 54.5. I will get us started on this one. Mike, I feel like my pick might have some of your numbers to back it up a little bit. These are 2 teams that people see score a lot of points. They, especially Oregon, they've been rolling on offense the last few weeks. We saw Illinois put up a lot of points, not last week, but that's a good Michigan defense that they played. They still put up 21 on them. I like the under in this game, 54.5. I believe in both of these defenses, to be honest with you, especially Oregon's. And Oregon's defense, I think that their big pass rusher should be back this week.
Okay.
So I like the under here, 54.5.
Blake, I liked it. You went a little Mike there with your description. You got me all excited there. You're absolutely right. The public's looking at this. Not only what you said, it's 2 ranked teams, including the number 1 team in the nation. 2 teams that score over 65 points a game. This is an easy over. Not only that, they got 76% of the bets and 58% of the money. However, this line opened at 55. And where's it at now? 54.5. It dropped. This is another case of the pros and the books are taken aside. We got pro money on our side. We got the books on our side. And I agree with you, Blake, under 54.5. It's a good, sharp, low bet, 24% of the bets, high dollar, 42% of the dollars split. I love those splits. The books are with us. The pros are with us. Let's ride.
If that spread gets to Oregon minus 20.5, I will take Oregon.
And that's another one. There's a couple out there.
Too many.
Yeah, there's a couple out there, and right now the pros are on that 21.5. They're liking it. They're liking that home double-digit dog. They cover.
Yeah. Next game,
Mm-hmm.
which is a great game. Great
Yes.
game. Another ranked on ranked game. This is a sneaky good weekend of college football. There's no like that crazy top 5 matchup, but there's a lot of really solid matchups. I had a hard time picking 5 games this week, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
LSU at Texas A&M. Texas A&M is favored by a point. The over-under is 54.5 again, which is weird that we have another 54.5. This spread, we talked about it in the group chat earlier between the three of us. Like, this spread's all over the place. When I sent this game to you guys last night, it was a pick at some books. There it was one way, 1.5 the other way. It was literally all over the board. But we've locked in kind of on the consensus. It looks like it's kind of settled down a little bit.
Yep.
And I'm favored by a point, which in football, it might as well be a pick because how many games are decided by 1 point? Yep. My pick for this game, and this is one of the doubles. This is a 2-for-1 special, but Mike, you're going to start off this one.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Thanks,
Todd.
This is one where the public's looking at this and the line's moving with what the public thinks. Actually, is they see the higher ranked LSU team that's won 6 in a row, and they think the wrong team's favored, so they're running and throwing their money on LSU. And what are the books doing? They're lowering that number, right? They're kind of saying, hey, let's back it down a little bit here, because the book agrees with them. The book's like, oh, hold on, we got to get this, we got to get the right team favored here. However, the pros are standing strong. All right, 34% of the bets, but 50% of the money is on that home team, Texas A&M. I'm going Texas A&M. I'm going with the pros. This is a weird way for me to do it because the books, usually I like to go with them. They're going against me with doing this. They're improving my line, but the pros have a split of 34% of the bets and 57% of the money on this one. I'm taking that sharp side. I want to take it to the books on this one.
I'm on the opposite side.
Okay.
And I'm also on the over.
Okay.
My thing is I think, you know what, Mike, too, with this game, which is something I need to look into, and you might be able to. For Heisman, Nussmeier is probably a little undervalued, and he's having a pretty good year. Outside of like those main like top 3 guys, I would consider him like that like 5th, like that dark horse guy that like he's still probably has good odds, but not incredible odds. He's been having a really good season. And I definitely don't believe in this LSU defense. I believe in the offense though. And A&M, I don't fully believe in the quarterback play. That's if I'm picking this game on quarterback play, that's why I lean LSU pretty heavy. And I've seen this game go way over in my lifetime. And it's just I remember the game that ended, I think it was like 76-73. The year it was in 2021, I want to say. The year that Coach O got fired. I know that. He got fired like right after this game. It's just weird things happen in this game. It's a great like newer SEC rivalry.
Yep.
And I just think LSU's the better team. And I can't get A&M losing to Notre Dame at home out of my head. I just can't like shake it. I know it happened in week 1. It was like forever ago, but it's one of those things that's kind of stuck with me.
LSU lost week 1 too.
Yeah, and we see what USC is now. So,
it's crazy, and you can get Nussmeier at 25-1.
It's not bad.
No.
Outside of but like I'm sure like Genty and Hunter and Milrow are probably still the top 3, right? I'm assuming.
Nope. Genty is, Cam Ward and Dylan Gabriel. Yeah. Travis Hunter's down to 18-1 with his shoulder injury. Milrow's all the way down to 40-1. But there's a guy for you. You look at these guys. I said this before. We're going to get a little off track here, but your Milrow, your Beck, these guys that have big games coming up. That's why you throw on Nesmeyer right now. He wins this game and they win some big game.
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden he becomes the favorite because this really is the Heisman is who won the last big game.
And they're in first place in the SEC right now. Like people forget that, but they haven't lost a conference game yet. They win this game, they're sitting pretty to play in the conference championship with the rest of their schedule, how everything lines up. I know they still have Bama left. And I want to say they might still have like Georgia or something like that. I know they still have Bama, but their schedule's not like whoever goes to the SEC championship is going to have one loss in the conference.
Right. So when you're looking at that, he beats Milroe in that game, he's jumping higher. The problem with this is no one's going to be able to get their hands on Genty to do that. He does not have that big game, but he's going to have those big numbers. So that's the scary thing about that.
Tonight is huge for Genty.
Yeah. And he's going to get 2 or 3 touchdowns. He just is. I mean, he is that much better than anybody else on the field every night.
So real quick, LSU has A&M this week. Then they have Bama in 2 weeks. They have a bye. And then they have Florida, Vandy at home, and then Oklahoma. So their schedule lines up pretty well. They win this game, and I think they'll be I would guess like 3.5 point favorites against Bama. That would be my guess. But then those other games, they'll be big favorites at Florida. They'll be big favorites against Vandy, and they'll be huge favorites against Oklahoma. Like their schedule's lining up pretty well for them to make the SEC championship game. And if you have a quarterback in the SEC championship game with his numbers, he'll at least make it to New York, in my opinion.
And so if you're going to take him, you take him right now because that number goes down tonight, and then is going to be untouchable once he beats Alabama. And then you take Milroe right before that game. And the winner of that game is going to move up and give you value within your bet. So
I think Milroe's hurt. Also, there's nothing official on that, but I think he's hurt. And that's why he's been playing like garbage.
Then you might want to shy away from it.
Now, on to the game of the week, the 2B game of the week. This game is gross. The fact that it's on BTN, like. That's where this rivalry is at right now, and it's so gross because in the last decade, Michigan State had a part in the Big Ten race or the college football race, especially in the last 5 years. This game has been huge for both sides, not just saying it from my Michigan perspective. Like this has been an important game in the last decade for both teams to go to the Big Ten championship game or whatever their goals were. So the fact that now it's at a place where Michigan State's coming off of last year's bad year, Michigan's coming off a national championship, but has looked like hot dog shit all year.
Yeah.
Now it's on BTN at night of all, like this game. It stinks that's in this spot, but still people in this state are excited about it. MSU at Michigan. Michigan is favored by 4.5. The over-under is 39.5. I can't quit them. I just can't. I can't quit taking Michigan. I didn't take them last week, and it worked out for me.
Yep.
I won. I had the under, and that won. So I'm also going to take the under in this game. Right. This is a 2-for-1 special for me.
Yeah, I like it.
Michigan has to win this game to make a bowl game. Looking at the rest of their schedule, if they do not win this week, they are not going to make any bowl game this year. They will not be going to the Little Caesars Bowl in downtown Detroit. They will not be going to the Bahamas Bowl. They will not be going to the whatever bowl game it is that is at Yankee Stadium. They won't be going to none of it. Wow. They have to win this game because they still have Indiana. They still have Ohio State. They have this game, and they have to beat Northwestern. If they don't win those 2 games, they are done.
And if they don't win this game, it's a sign of something. It's good. I can't even imagine. I can't wait. I'm going to be on the back deck. I'm going to have the dog on the couch. I'm going to have a beer in my hand. I'm going to be watching it. and I'm going to be watching it with these thoughts I have about my bet here, Blake. I always, my pattern. I'm going to come in and I'm going to tell you what the public thinks, and I'm going to go against it. Here's my statement. Honestly, I have no idea what the public is thinking. I can't find one thing that I can look at with Michigan and Michigan State and see why 80% of the bets are on the over. The over on two of the worst offenses in NCAA football. There's 80% of the bets on the over. Now, despite 80% of the bets, this line opened up at 41.5. It's dropped to 39.5 because the books and the pros have sense. And they know the right side is the under. Whether this game flies over or not, the right side is the under here. I'm with you. I'm going under 39.5 with two of the worst offenses. I'll be watching this game. I do not look forward to watching this game. I do not want to watch this game. But living in Michigan, I have to watch this game, and I don't know why.
The only thing that will screw us on this under is pick sixes. Either way. Because you got two teams that love to turn the ball over. And if those turnovers turn into touchdowns, that will screw us. That is the only way. These two offenses, Michigan State's offenses looked better in the last couple of weeks. I will fully admit that. Charles has kind of reeled in some of those doy plays that he was making. Yeah. He also hasn't played a defense that I think is still very good. I think Will Johnson is done for the year, so that kind of scares me with Michigan's defense. I don't know. That's not like anything official. That's not anything I've even heard rumored. If I'm Will Johnson and I've been injured twice this year, I'm done playing. I'm going to be a top 5 NFL draft pick more likely than not. Why would I continue to risk my season for a team that might not make a bowl game?
And the coaching staff should be telling him the same thing. They need to look out for him. But as far as pick sixes go, like I look at that Green Bay game and Tampa Bay game. That game was turned last week. We lost those games because of turnovers. Those are human elements that I can't handicap. Yes. I can't put into things. Those happen. So if there's 5 pick sixes in this game, you know what? At least I'll be jumping out of my seat and throwing my beer and having a good time. But I don't get mad at that.
If those 5 pick sixes are the only points in the game, we still win.
Yeah. So
that's 35.
But it's the only time that it would bother, like when you just get it wrong, when Indiana comes out and pounds Nebraska, you're like,
21-0 in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, whatever. But hey, if there's a bunch of pick sixes, I hope it's an exciting game. I don't see how it can be, but let's go.
Let me just run down this for you real quick, okay? Michigan State this week. Michigan has Oregon next week at home.
Mm-hmm.
That's a loss. I said it was a loss before the season. That's not changing. Michigan goes to Indiana the next week. That's a loss.
How about this? How about Michigan going to Indiana, having a chance for Michigan to spoil Indiana's season? Yes. How about them turnaround? What about that turnaround? Come on.
Then Michigan's at home against Northwestern. I think that's a win for Michigan. And then they play Ohio State. So they have to find 2 wins out of those 5 games. Yeah. So they have to win this game.
Yeah. Hey, as long as they come in under 9, I'm good.
This game. I need this. I need this for my mental health, okay?
All right. You'll get that for your mental health, but let's get some wins in our account for our mental health, right? You want to go first?
You go ahead. All
right. Well, of course, I'm going to lead off with I had FIU plus 5.5 early in the week, so I'm already off to a good start. But then we're going to run up to here. Again, here's one of these games, Blake, I know nothing about. We're going to the Charlotte at Memphis game. The public's looking at the 6-1 home team, Memphis. A lot of people thought they were going to make the playoffs. They still like them. They scored 52 points last week. They're looking at this. Oh, and look at that. Charlotte gave up 51 the week before. They think this is an easy big number cover for Memphis. However, despite 76% of the bets and an even split of money, the money's 50-50, right? The money's 50-50. This line shouldn't be moving. It opened at 19.5. It moved down to 18.5. The books and pros are siding with Charlotte, so am I. I got Charlotte at plus 18.5. It's down to 17.5 right now. I'd still take that. We're going to the Temple East Carolina game. Who thought Temple would look like this, right? You go back not too long ago, Temple was the armpit of NCAA football. They were awful, and that's what the public sees. They see the home team, East Carolina. They think they're the better team, and they think that Temple is still back in that day of just being awful, right? So they think this is going to be an easy cover for the home team, East Carolina. However, despite 59% of the bets, this line opened at 10, and it's all the way down to 7.
I think East Carolina just fired their coach this week, too.
Oh, look at that.
I'm going to double check that for you real quick. Yeah, they did. They just fired their coach this week. So.
Even better. I got Temple plus 7.5. I'm going to take that. There's a 41-84 sharp split of that money, a little reverse line movement. I'll take it every time. So now we're going to another one. I am just in love with teams that absolutely sucked not too long ago because the public are thinking of that. Bowling Green a couple of years ago, they were awful.
They're good right now.
They're good. So let's go to the Bowling Green Toledo game. The public sees the 5-2 Rockets. They think they're the better team. This is going to be an easy cover, right? Hey, 76% of the bets are on Toledo, but this line opened at 3.5. It moved as low as 2.5. I caught it at 3. I'm going to side with the reverse line movement. I got Bowling Green plus 3 in this game.
This is the MAC game of the year.
Yeah,
those are probably the two best teams in the MAC right now.
Yep.
So
now we're going to go to TCU. Texas Tech is visiting TCU, right? The public sees Texas Tech. They're 5-2. They're the better team. Heck, TCU should have lost to Utah last week. They barely squeaked by in that game. 61% of the bets are agreeing with it. They're all over Texas Tech. However, this line opened at -4. It's gotten as high as 7. I took TCU, one of my rare favorites, -6. This is more sharp reverse line movement. The money's one way, the line goes the other way. Going back to the well on this one, Blake. Auburn at Kentucky. I liked Auburn last week. We hopped on Auburn last week. The public sees a struggling Auburn team, 4 straight losses. Heck, what do they see? Kentucky should have beat Georgia, right? They're easily going to beat Auburn. 71% of the bets are on Auburn. However, this line opened at 3.5. It moved down to like 1, right? I think we've even seen it at 1. This line is totally moving towards Auburn's way. I've got them at +3. So I really like that one. I do believe I've got it marked 2.5. I think it's at 1 right now.
I'm going to double check that.
Yep.
I know. I thought that you were going to say like 10.
Mm-mm.
Why? What it's Auburn's so okay, and like I'm not bashing your pick. That line makes no sense because Auburn is horrible. Yeah, it's a pick some places.
So I love
it's, but it's also all over the place. Like
it's all over the place.
1.5 all like a pick 1.5 all the way up to 2.5. That makes no sense.
I love it. I love 29% of the bets, but yet the line's moving my way. The books are even saying, and when people look at lines, and I love it when they say it doesn't make sense. I don't get, because that makes me that we're looking at things. But however, the sports books we say it all the time. They make money off their power rankings, and these are lines that drive people crazy. Hey. Whatever. It's not
even like Auburn's is at Kentucky. It's at the big shopping cart. It doesn't make any sense.
I love it. So now I go to Baylor, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, a team we love to step on and say bad things about Gundy's hair. The public doesn't think Baylor's much better than OK State. They're looking at these teams and they think they're pretty evenly matched, and that's what it should be. Mm-hmm. So the public is all over grabbing these points. 62% of the bets are on Oklahoma State, right? However, this line moved. It opened at 3, and it's moved as high as 7. I don't necessarily like this line. I can't recommend it, but I love the betting splits. where I've got 38% of the bets with me, but the line moving with me. I took them at -6.5. So I got it under that 7, and we'll see if they can cover.
And Baylor, shockingly, we talked about quit teams. They haven't quit, and I'm shocked because I thought they did a couple weeks ago, but they haven't. So
this last one, I haven't put in my account, but it will be in my account. That's why I'm putting it here. I will have this in my account. It's just the number that I get that I'm going to wait on. I'm going to the Wisconsin-Penn State game. The public sees that third-ranked Penn State team coming into Wisconsin, and they think that this is going to be an easy win. The line's way too low. We've got 78% of the bets and 68% of the money are coming in and pounding on Penn State. Blake, this line hasn't moved. It opened at 6.5. It's sitting at 6.5. When you have 78% of the bets and 68% of that money, you would think that line would be moved. That line should be 8, 8.5, moving towards 9 right now. The books have taken a side with Wisconsin. And what I'm waiting for is, and this is the numbers at 6.5. So I will tell you, I will take it at 6.5. But what I'm doing and why it's not in my account is MGM usually opens their alt lines a little bit later. I'm thinking they're going to open it tomorrow. I have like a 30% boost. So I'm going to get that 7 or 7.5, whatever I work out to being a -110 at least. But I will have this in my account, and I would recommend it at 6.5. I'm just going to boost it up a little bit for my sake.
I have a play in that game too. So I'll give it to you right now. Penn State first half -3. I agree with you. Full game. I don't love it. I do think like Penn State has a chance, especially early in the game, to like get rolling. But I could still see it being close. But that's why, like, if I can get it at 3.5, that's where it's at most places. Yeah. Penn State first half. Yeah. And that way I'm not worrying about like Penn State James Franklining at the end of the game.
I see, and I'm not worrying about James Franklin though I do say some things about him, but crazy things happen at night in Madison.
Yeah.
And now I'm assuming this game's at night. I hope I didn't get
it's
wrong.
It's a 3:30 kick. So
I did get it wrong.
It'll end at night.
There we go. I because I think of these games when Wisconsin pulls some big gets closer with some of the bigger teams. But hey, 3:30 Madison, crazy things happen. You know what just happened there?
Drinking.
Jack White just played at a real small bar there and just rocked it out. I wish I could have been there. So Madison is still firing after a Jack White concert. Let's go. Go Badgers.
Real quick, I'll roll through these. I have a bunch because I love this slate. We already talked about this game. USC -14.5 against Rutgers tonight. I have it at 13, but I still like it at 14.5. I think USC rolls. That game starts in literally, I think, 2 minutes. Indiana -5 against Washington. That line makes no sense. I know it makes no sense. I know Indiana's QB is out. Like I said earlier, I'm just going to blindly take Indiana right now. They are rolling.
He's done well while he's been in. I checked that because that was one I was looking at.
He started some games last year for IU. And I know you don't follow college basketball. He's the former Indiana Star basketball player's brother, Trace Jackson Davis, which is also like a cool little like thing. Nebraska at Ohio State. I like the over 47.5. I could see Ohio State putting that up on their own. They had, obviously Indiana put up that on Nebraska last week. And I think Ohio State's offense is better than Indiana's still. So obviously turnovers and everything played into that game last week. But still, I like Ohio State's offense to score on Nebraska. The spread was just a little too high for me, but I like that. I would also look at Ohio State team total over. I don't have the number right in front of me, but I would look at that as well. Virginia Tech -10.5 against Georgia Tech. It doesn't look like Georgia Tech's quarterback's playing this week. So, and Virginia Tech's been playing really well.
Yep.
So
I like that one.
BYU, just take a money line. UCF stinks. I know that BYU +115. I know this numbers probably say opposite, but
No, it's the wackiest game. Like it's one that me and a guy
Why is
at work have been
BYU
talking about.
not favored? I don't get it.
I
UCF
mean,
played better since they made the quarterback change. That's, I think, a
yes.
big part of it.
And they get
But-
a home field advantage. That's a real rocking stadium there.
Yep.
I mean, what's on our mind? There was Colorado that went down there and kind of it took it to them.
But that was before the quarterback change.
Yeah, so that's kind of the things we look at. But that was one I was looking at. I couldn't make the numbers, but that's another line you look at, and I'm like.
But if I'm going to take BYU, I'm not going to take the points. I'm just going to take a money line. They've been playing in such weird games this year. I don't want to deal with points with them. I just want to – I either want to win or lose it, and I don't want to lose it by like half a point because I would. Bama minus 16 against Missouri. Missouri's so injured and not good. They're just not a good football team. They're still ranked for whatever God knows why reason. They're not good. I don't think Bama's – like fully healthy. Like I said, I think Milrose dealing with some stuff. Their secondary still is questionable, but Missouri doesn't have their quarterback who's mediocre at best, and they're gonna have to play a guy who's worse than him. So Texas minus 17.5 against Vandy. I think Texas bounces back. They're not going to look past Vandy after what Vandy did earlier this season to Bama. I know it's at Vandy. That's a weird place. Because really, it'll be like a home field advantage for Texas because it might be better this year because Vandy's actually playing well. But a lot of teams travel well to Vandy because why not take a trip to Nashville to watch your team play college football?
Yeah, I mean, when I saw that line, I just thought, woof, the shines come off that one a little bit. I thought that line would be a little bit after what Texas did and how Vandy's been playing. When I saw that line, I was like,
I still think Vandy's a good team. Like, don't get me wrong. I just think this is a spot for Texas to get right. And I think that they could lay the hammer on Vandy.
And I want to give you a heads up because you fooled me there. That USC game's not till 11.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Great. 10:30.
That's why I've been trying. I'm like, why is my TV doing this to me?
New Mexico plus 5.5 against Colorado State. Colorado State shouldn't be favored against anybody. I don't care who it is. Yeah, you did. And I like New Mexico this week.
All right.
Florida State, Miami under 54.5. I think a lot of people, I'm sure I have numbers to back me up on this one too, but I'm sure everyone's betting the over in this game because of how Miami's been scoring.
Yep.
Florida State's defense is good. Like Florida, I know their offense. No, they have no quarterback play, but their defense is good. And then last, Cincinnati plus 6.5 at Colorado. Cincinnati's been a very good team. Colorado's depth issues eventually are going to catch up with them.
Yep.
And I'm getting a full 6.5. This spread might actually be at 7 by now. But yeah. So on to the NFL.
Let's go NFL.
We said we were going to go quick. We're at an hour 3. Todd, I'm giving we're putting a 15-minute time limit on this. If we don't hit it, you end the stream, okay?
I'm gonna go as fast as I can on these.
All right.
I'm gonna try to take it easy on the public.
NFL first game. We will start right here in Detroit.
Yes.
The Detroit Lions are hosting the Tennessee. Or wait, that's backwards. The Lions are at home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lions are at home against Tennessee. That's fine, Todd. Don't fix it. Don't worry about it. Don't touch it. It's fine. Yep. Detroit's favored by 11.5. Over under of 44.5. I will start us out. I like the over. I'm sure everyone's on it. I'm sure it's a very public side. That's fine because I think Detroit will put up points. And Tennessee is kind of on quit watch. They're trading away players and everything. So I like the over in this game.
All right. And you said you got it right. You are on the public side. 70% of the bets are with you, Blake. They're looking at the Lions. They think the Lions are the best team in the NFL, and they just scored 31, 47, and 42 points in the last 3 weeks. The Titans have given up over 30 points a game in 4 of the last 5 weeks. They're thinking this is an easy over. This is going to be in the 50s. The Lions could take it. But however, despite that 70% of the bets, it opened at 45.5. It's dropped down to this 44.5. That's because with only 30% of the bets, we've got 61% of the money sharp reverse line movement. I've got the under.
Next game, which is another great game. Philly at Cincy. I don't know if you know this. Cincy has not won a home game this year. Philly has not scored a point in the first quarter this year.
That I did know.
Just to throw out some numbers for you there.
Yep.
Cincy is favored by 2.5, over under of 47.5. Mike, you go ahead and get us started on this one.
All right. The public is down. They're down on Joe Burrow, and they're looking at this Eagles team. They got more wins, and I think they actually think that the Eagles should probably be favored, especially those Philly fans. They're crazy. My brother-in-law, I know he's going to hate me on this one. However, despite 59% of the bets on the Eagles, this line opened at 2. It's gotten as high as 3. We've got it at 2.5. I'm going to side with that early pro money where that money went. I've got Cincinnati minus 2.5.
You already know I do too. You already know. Cincy minus 2.5. Joe Burrow. Let's go. Now, I just looked this up because of that Philly stat I just gave you. And this is something I will definitely be sprinkling. You can get Cincy minus 0.5 point first quarter plus 120.
That's a nice one. I mean, the only thing is if both teams come out and shit the bed.
But I like those odds.
I do. I'll take that plus money. Take that plus money on a team that hasn't scored in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it probably will. Philly's going to put up 14 in the first quarter. This will be the week. Washington, the battle of rookie quarterbacks. Chicago at Washington.
Yep.
I think this one's backwards too, just so you know, Todd. Not a big deal. I just wanted to let you know. I should have. Todd said read this, and I read it, and I didn't catch it. So that's on me. Yes. Chicago's at home against Washington. The Bears are favored by 2.5. The over-under is 43.5. I will start us on this one. I like the Commanders. I know that there's a chance that Daniels isn't starting this week. They still looked decent with Mariota last week. I like the Chicago team. I really do. And they're coming off of a bye, so they should be healthier. But I think Washington's offense is just really, really good, no matter who's playing quarterback. Yeah. So I will take Washington plus the 2.5.
I echo everything you said. I think Mariota is fine short term. Long term, that's not a good thing, but short term is totally fine. He came in, he did what he had to do against Carolina last night. I loved this game. I would love to take the Commandos. I love the Commandos. I love calling them the Commandos. Anyways, I would love to have taken them. However, there's just too much unknown. And my question is, and this is where I was battling, is what would this line be with Daniels?
I don't think it would be. Oh, you got it. I was going to say.
Think about the look ahead line, right? That look ahead line was about 2.5 or 3 with the Commandos.
Okay, I would have guessed 1.5. So yeah.
So that's it. So I love Daniels. Jaden Daniels is good. He's going to be really good. He's going to be a player in this league. I just don't think he's worth 5 or 6 points right now. So I think this line has gotten a little bit too out of hand. And like we both said, short term, Mariota is going to be just fine. I would love to take this in my account. The only reason I can't is I don't bet on unknowns. There's just way too much I don't know. Is he playing? Is he not playing? But for the show, I've got the Commandos plus 2.5.
Cool. Next game, one dead team against another dead team. This is a name value game.
Yep.
Right here. Dallas at San Fran. San Fran is favored by 4.5. The over-under is 47.5. Mike, you go ahead and get us rolling on this one.
Absolutely. And this is actually, I have 2 plays on this game in my account, this being one of them. The public.
Wait, whoa. This should be a Mikey 2-for-1 special. This is ridiculous.
I thought about it. I did think about it, but I you know me, I like to pace myself. I just did my one.
This is ridiculous.
I like my nice even numbers. The public sees the 49ers are averaging 30 points a game their last 4 games. They're playing an awful Dallas defense that's depleted. Parsons is going to be gone again. They just gave up 47 points and got pounded by the Lions. This is an easy over. right? However, despite 65% of the bets on the over, this line opened at 47.5. It's dropped down to 46, as low as 46.5. It's moved up a little bit. I take that early money. It's still frozen. It has not gone above this 47.5. Why wouldn't they raise it? It keeps hitting that buyback point. That's because all the pro money is on the under, and so am I.
Love it. I don't disagree. I like that play a lot. Dallas stinks. San Fran -4.5. Book it. Easy. Dallas stinks. Giants at the Steelers. Pittsburgh is favored by 6.5. The over-under is 36.5. Mike, what's the one thing we know on this show?
We know that, hey, Tomlin's great as a dog, but not great as a favorite. And we know
give me the Giants plus the 6.5. And the under, because this game the under, stinks.
I like it. I like it. And there's numbers that are going to be behind you. And sometimes you have to look at the numbers within the numbers, right? So the public's looking at this. They saw what the Steelers did last week. They saw what the Giants did last week. They got pounded. They think that this is going to be an easy cover. Now, this line initially opened at a 4.5. You could have found it. But then once those games happened a little bit later in the day, they reopened it at 6.5. So what looks like movement to the Steelers was just a reopening of this line once they collected more data with that games. Now that it's at 6.5, 85% of the bets are still on the Steelers, but this line hasn't moved. You haven't seen it gone to that 7. That's because the sharps are betting this, and the books like this 6.5. This line is frozen for a reason. Give me the G-men with you at 6.5.
We have so many numbers on our side for this one. So many numbers.
Love it.
All right. Let me fire through my NFL picks real quick.
All right.
So we can get the hell out of here. Watch some college football on a Friday night. Cardinals plus 4.5 at the Dolphins. I know Tua's back. The Cardinals are the most inconsistent team in the NFL, but I keep going back to them. And I think the Dolphins, even with Tua back, I think he's going to be a little rusty. Maybe things are a little cloudy up top. I don't know.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, that's why I'm not on this game. If I was on this game, I would have been on the other end of it at about a 2.5 and a 3 when I saw that the sharps were on the Dolphins. I don't get like, there's times, hey, these guys make money doing what they do. I don't even get this line movement, like all the way up to 4.5 off a guy that hasn't played. And all they can tell me is Waddle and Hill are pissed and they're going to go crazy. I don't like two of that.
Sure much. They are.
Yeah, I don't like two of that much. I like that play.
I just don't think Arizona's that bad.
No.
I know they're not great, but they're not that bad of a team. Mm-hmm. Texans -4 against the Colts. The Colts, I think, are that bad. I know if the playoffs started right now, they would be in the playoffs. Doesn't make any sense to me because I don't think Anthony Richardson is good, and I think the Texans are good. So, and it's only 4 points, so I will take that. Ravens Browns over 44.5. The Ravens are just scoring. They're just scoring. I know that's probably the most public side of the week.
I'm just excited. This is one of the first time we are going toe to toe on some of these. I'm loving it. I can't wait.
Bills Seahawks over 46.5. Just because Seahawks have so many defensive injuries.
I love it. One of us is going to be happy and one of us is not.
Saints Chargers under 41.5.
Okay.
Is that one you have?
Nope.
Okay. And I'm willing to bet this is one you have. Chiefs -9.5 at the Raiders.
I'm in that game, but not on that side. I'm not on a side there. I'm not on a side.
The Raiders they stink.
Yes.
And I know it's a big number for the Chiefs. Like Patrick Mahomes usually doesn't cover those numbers, those big numbers. Yep. But I just, especially after last year, when I think it was Christmas Day that they got smoked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're not. It's not going to happen again.
And these divisional games too so I would have, if the numbers would have worked, that was definitely one I was looking at. Those big number divisional games I'm almost always on. So real quick, so we can get Todd to his vacation here. I've already said I've got the boys and Niners under 47.5. I'm also on the Cowboys at +5. The public sees the 49ers, just like Blake, as the better team. The Cowboys stink. I get it. I do believe that. However, despite 67% of the bets, this line opened at 5.5. It's hit as low as 4. All the movement's been towards Dallas. So we know I take that reverse line movement. The books and the pros and myself are siding with them. I would actually take anything over a 3 if people are looking at it. I know it's at a 4 right now, and that's play number 1 me and Blake are fighting on. Now, Blake, this is the craziest line I got. This is where I went to that Browns-Ravens game, and I got this number right after the Ravens went. So won't tell you the number to the end, but the public is looking at the Ravens. They're the top team in the NFL. They got 2 legit MVP candidates. The Browns stink. They're on their second and third quarterback, right? 77% of the bets are on the Ravens. Now, I got this number at 11.5, and that's not an alt line. They opened this at 11.5 after that Ravens pounding in Tampa Bay. It's all the way down to 8.5. This movement's been all towards the Browns. It's another divisional game. These teams know each other. I got the home dog. I'm with 23% of the bets and 62% of the money. The sharps are on this. This is all sharp movement, pounding it down. I got lucky on that number at 11.5. I wouldn't take it at 8.5. I wouldn't take it at under 10. But I got that, and I love it. Now, did you go Browns Ravens over?
Yes.
I got Browns Ravens under. You're on the side of the public there. You know, the Ravens are scoring 40, 41, 30, 41, and 35. This is going to be an easy over. However, 74% of the bets are on the over. It opened at 44.5 right after that Tampa Bay game. What did Mike do? I went to bet the over at 44.5, right? I went to bet the under at 44.5 because the numbers were there. For a -115, I got it at 45.5. So I got this is what I'm talking about. 1 nickel, I got an extra point on my under.
So we're rooting for a middle here.
Yeah.
We're rooting 44. For 45.
I love it. So that's what I was talking about, those alt line menus. For a nickel, I'm willing to move it a point. Are you kidding me? All right. Another one we're going to battle on. We're going to Indy and Texas. Blake and the public are looking at that home Texan team. They love them. They see that preseason team that was going to make it to the Super Bowl. They were contenders. However, since their receiver went out, they haven't been the same. These
Nico
guys
Collins, Michigan man.
Nico
Collins.
They haven't been the same. And they look at Indy the same way you do as I do. I think Richardson stinks. I have a different feeling about this game if Flacco's in this game. He is the better quarterback on that team.
100%.
However, even with Richardson in there, 78% of the bets are on the Texans when that line opened at 6.5. I've seen it as low as 5. I got Indy at +6. I'm going to take that one.
Yes, at 6, I get that. 100%.
Yeah. So we're going to go with the Bills and Hawks. We're going to fight again. The public sees this series 10-0 to the over. They hear Blake likes the over. Everyone's taking the over. 76% of the bets are on the over. It opened at 49.5. I've seen it as low as 47. I got it at 48.5. I'm going under in that game. The Chiefs and Raiders. I didn't take a side, but I'm going with the total. I'm going under 42.5. The public sees the Chiefs, the undefeated Chiefs. They think that the Raiders stink. Mahomes is going to go crazy. 66% of the bets are going on the over. This line opened at 42. I've seen it at 41. It's another one where I caught another extra half point on my alt line I've got it at 42.5. And I love KC's defense. I think it's the most underrated thing about
their defense is so good.
It's so good. And Minshew, come on. I just think that's good. Again, I got to buy that extra half point in there for a nickel. I'll do it every time. But again, the pros are on that side of the under. So let's go under. Let's go a 10-point win. We're good.
Love it.
And that's it. Blake, earlier in this week, what did my text say? I don't think I'm going to have a bet this week.
I know.
I just walked away
Weird.
with 15.
You figured it out.
I just walked away with 15 in my account, and I love it.
I was going to blind bet the over on every World Series game, and I didn't. And I'm really glad I didn't tonight.
It was 2-1 last time I seen it. What is it now?
It's 2-1 still.
Okay.
I was literally going to do that just because I was like, these teams are going to score.
Right.
So I didn't do that. Todd left us. I told him I can handle the rest of this.
Okay. Thank you, Todd.
Bye, Todd. Thank you very much. We both love you. Yeah, and I mean, I'm excited for the action tonight. We got the world. Do you know what Monday is, by the way? Real quick.
But that is everything's playing, right? You're going to have hockey, baseball, football.
The sports equinox is what it's called.
Yeah.
You got everything all going on at once. You got all 4 major sports going on, which is just incredible.
And
there's not enough TVs in the world for me.
And I don't have anything going, but that I'm going to have something going on Monday night. And I agree with you. I can't wait for that the UNLV game tonight. You know me. I should be in bed right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do my best to stay up and at least because I haven't seen Genty. I want to see what this guy does.
See this guy.
And since you've turned me on to the UNLV offense, I've watched them. I like it.
I'd love a full review of the go-go offense. The go-go offense is incredible.
Can we get this game? However, we're excited about it. This is going to be offense. This is going to be exciting. It's going to be fireworks. Can we get a game with no freaking flags? Please stop ruining this game. Stop ruining this game.
It hasn't been as bad in college this year, but
no, not at all. NFL is almost unwatchable. Real quick, there's a game. I don't have money on it because the line got away. This North Texas Tulsa game. I think it's Tulsa they're playing. This game could hit 100.
Yes. Yeah.
This line has moved. That over has moved up and up and up. Is it at 68.5 still?
Let me look. You said North Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, of course, I did it without this. I just looked up spread. No, not Northwestern, North Texas. 69. Nice.
It's up to 69. Perfect. What perfect timing for me to say that. I want to say it was 65 when I was looking at it. And, I run my numbers. So I don't stop at a number and look at it. I run my numbers. Then I come back up to the top and I go back and look at stuff. By the time I got back down, it was at 68.5. And I'm like, I can't. However, if people are watching, if you want to fire on that game and find a TV that it's on, that could hit 100. Those two teams might not stop each other.
That might be just a principle because the number's so high. Just bet the over and see what happens. Like that's so many. Okay, so now that we're looking at this, I like Buffalo plus the 6.5 against Ohio.
Buffalo's terrible.
Yeah, but Ohio's not good either.
Right. So that's just one of those games. That's
action, baby. That's action, baby.
I've got some action going this week. I
know.
Come on, Bowling Green. Let's go. Let's go.
I like that. I like that play a lot. I agree with you. I might be playing that one myself actually because I was talking about that game the other day with someone, and I do really really like it. So, but I think that's it for us, man. It's been a day. It's been an absolute day. Like I said, that's true. So next week, just so you know, I might need to go on Thursday because I think I'm going to dinner Friday night after my last day. So
perfect, and you deserve that. You do that. So Thursday would be Halloween, so it'll be a spooky show.
Oh yeah, we can. Do you want to dress up? Do you want to do costumes? Because
that's not happening. I'll dress up as an angry old man.
Perfect. All right, Mike. Thank you again. Thank you, Todd. I know you're not here, but thank you very much for doing everything you do for us on the back end and just all the help you provide to us and everything. Thank you, Sean, for giving us this platform to be able to talk about our idiotic bets.
Big props for that.
Thank you to everyone that's watching and listening. We got 41 people in here watching us two idiots talk about bets. We appreciate everyone for watching and listening, and we'll be back, like I said, next week, probably on Thursday.
Yep.
After that, we'll probably be moving up the time a little bit. We will probably be going more, if I had to guess, probably around like 7 o'clock, if that works for you, Mike.
That's
So-
beautiful. That's beautiful. And of those 41 people out there listening, win some money.
Yes.
Win some money. Remember, listen to our show bets, but take our account bets and win some money. Let's go.
Yeah, and the less you bet, the more you lose when you win. That's a fact. That's from the
100%.
bear. That's a direct
math
quote
and
from the bear.
science. That's math and science all in one. I love it. What a way to go. Thanks, Blake.
All right, see ya.
You've been listening to Off the Board. Tune in all throughout the football season for weekly picks and insights. Subscribe to Unsyndicated and Off the Board on all your favorite social media and podcast platforms.
All right.